Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Gundam Converge EX17 Psycho Gundam. So the EX series is like their series of Converge figures that are like larger. They usually use them for like mobile armors and things like that, like the Deep Striker or the Hummingbird, or in this case obviously the Psycho Gundam, going to be a larger one as well. So I've taken a look at a few of these in the past, and so we're just going to open this up and do it kind of the same way. I'll just show you guys how it's going to look just straight out of the box, and let you guys know about the size of it and everything, all the details, all of that. I love these Converge figures. If you guys haven't picked them up, I know if you buy them individually, they can be a bit expensive for just the regular ones. But I would recommend, if you can, pick up a few. They're really fun. And yeah, so there's the front. Here's the top. Really cool look there with the eyes. I'm sure there's no like LED or anything obviously built into this, but hopefully that will be at least reactive to UV light if you want to do that. It does transform as well. One of the more stupid transformations in the Gundam universe, I think. On the other side here, nothing too interesting, but here on the back is just showing once again the transformation between the MS mode and the MA mode, mobile suit and mobile armor. Some details there at the bottom, and then some more information. Let's just go ahead and get this opened up. I'm sure this is only applicable in Japan, but it's cool that you can collect these Converge points. I'm sure those are probably useful for something, but I don't think they'll be of too much use of anything for me. So we can see we do have a part there for a little base there. I think that's for when it's transformed in mobile armor mode. You have a base. There's obviously the shield, the two halves of the shield, big V fin there. Some more parts here. It looks like kind of backpacky parts. Arm, torso, arm, head. The lower half is just kind of all one piece there. And then I think this is like the transformed lower half, so when it's transformed it looks like there is going to be some part swapping involved. And then oh yeah, this is kind of the foot base. I'll talk more about that later. We also have our one little piece of chewing gum, and then a little paper, which I guess is probably just showing the instructions for how to make this and transform it. Alright, so I decided to build it up here in mobile armor mode first, just because after this I'm probably going to transform it, back into the mobile suit mode and never transform it into this mode again. Like I mentioned before, I don't really like the look of this transformation. It's iconic, I guess, to the series. Like if you're a really big fan of this particular Gundam, or like a really huge fan of like the Zeta Gundam series, it's a pretty iconic moment from the series, I guess. But let's give this the UV test here, and not really gonna be too much of a reaction really out of anything there, it looks like. Just to give you an up close look at some of this pre-painting here, you can see like on the little beam cannons there in the chest and the front skirt section, that's in like a little bit of like a metallic red, it looks like. As well as these silver kind of like gunmetal parts are also in a little bit of that metallic gunmetal kind of color. Everything else is just kind of flat color, red, black. See on the side of the shield there's the MRX-002. And overall very nicely detailed, but let's get this into mobile suit mode. Alright, now that's much better. Now one thing about this is that, like with other Converge figures that I've shown you guys, one thing that I like to do with them is like go in and do some panel lining on them, add some decals and things like that. With this being mostly very black for the most part, I don't really know how well it's going to work filling in a lot of those panel lines. Obviously I can panel line on the parts that are not black, but we'll have to see what I can do about that. Definitely going to be adding some decals to this though, due to its larger size. I can have a little bit easier time adding some decals on, and that should help as well, just make this look really cool. Painting in a little bit more of the details and things like that. Really nicely pre-painted already, but just going ahead and filling in some more of those details definitely adds more to that. So let's give this the UV test, because I want to check the eyes. There you can see, without that you guys can like barely see that. So the eyes are definitely going to be a little bit more reactive. You can see the camera there for the head is shining pretty brightly as well, so that's pretty nice. There's nothing on the back, where unfortunately it looks like there should be a camera there, at least for that big part there at the top, so something else I'll have to fill in later with the detail painting. Now we had this big piece here. This is basically to help it stand. It stands fine on its own. It doesn't seem like it needs it, and a lot of the older Converge figures do that. It seems with the past couple like new series, they changed it up to just a like square base that they stand on top of, which I think is much better. But the Converge figures before used this kind of stand where it just kind of like closes around the back of the feet, and it's kind of ugly just because it just looks like something that's like holding the back of the feet. And like, especially if you're looking at it from the back, now you can't see the back of the feet at all. So I don't really like using these, and I'm kind of sad that this came with this rather than like I said, the newer style where it's just a black solid base. But you do have that, and I probably just won't use that. You will have some other unused parts as well. You have this when it's in mobile armor mode. You have parts that are unused. So mobile armor version of the legs, this part which replaces the head, these parts here which replace the forearms for like the little wings coming out to the side, and then of course the little base for that. So you'll have extra stuff that won't be used no matter which form you choose. And just for a size comparison here, you guys can see it aptly paired up with the Gundam Mark II Titans version. And so this is the black base that I'm talking about. So like the newer series have this kind of nice base. Mine's a little bit dusty at the moment, but I much prefer that kind of base. So that's nice, but you can just see the size difference. So I mean, in terms of like the proportions, they're pretty much exactly the same. So I like how, you know, this is pretty much just an upscaled Gundam. They basically did the same thing for the figure as well, so it's like the exact same proportions of a normal Converge figure, but it's much bigger. Now, about the articulation of the kit, it really doesn't have any. You can sort of turn the head a little bit side to side, and then you can rotate the hands as well, and that's pretty much all the articulation that you're going to get out of it. You could rotate the shield a little bit, I suppose, like that if you wanted to, but it's not really meant to be articulated. It's meant to just kind of be a standing static figure like that. So overall, really happy with this. I think this was around $25, something like that. It's a little bit more expensive, of course, but I like these figures quite a bit, so I usually don't mind spending for the newer ones. And especially with these EX series, if you don't get them right away, some of them can be a little bit harder to get later. So anytime we get a new one announced, as long as it's something that I just really hate the design of, I'm probably going to be picking up these as long as they're making them. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, you can leave those down below. If you're wondering about where I got this from HobbyLink Japan. That's usually where I always order my Converge figures from. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.